Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ruma Pal. Welcome you all to Chaitanya Studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University Ahmedabad. We are dealing with lecture series of postgraduate diploma in marketing in the subject of customer service management. Students, you must be familiar in this subject. We have 4 blocks. In that 4 blocks, we have different kind of units. Today, we will focus on block 1, which is the first block. In that block, we will learn unit 2. So, the first thing that we need to know the learning objectives. Means, after learning this unit, we will be able to understand the need for qualified employees, silo mentality, about destroying of silos, then customer loyalty ladder, and then last we will come to know the Kano model. Okay, the first thing that is customer service management. In this customer service management, now we are focusing on internal customers. Okay, now we need to know what is internal customers, right? So internal customers are those who are working for the organization. Means internal customers are those employees. Employees in any organizations, the asset of any organization, that is employees. Without employees, an organization cannot achieve their goal. So the first thing, very important, that we need to know how to satisfy your internal customers. Means how to satisfy your employees. So before that, you need to know that how you can motivate your employees. So the first thing that we will learn, the need for motivated employees. Why it is required to motivate your employees? Obviously, if your employee will be motivated, so it will be very easy to achieve your organization goals. If your employees will not be motivated, then obviously they will not perform, they will not work. So at the last, what will happen? Organizations will never achieve their goals. So the first thing that we need to know, the motivational theory. So the first motivational theory that today we will focus, that is given by Abraham Maslow. So Abraham Maslow has developed a motivational theory. It's called Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory. So when it comes the word hierarchy means it starts from the low to the high, means from the smaller group to the higher group. So Abraham Maslow, what he has done, he has experiment about human's life, and after that, after an in-depth interview, after a research, he come to know that in a life of a human being, there is our various needs, and those needs he has categorized in a 5 category. The first one he has given, that is physiological needs. The second one, that is a safety needs. The third one, that is a social needs. And the fourth one he has categorized, that is a esteem. And the last one, Abraham Maslow has said self-actualization. So in our whole life, he has categorized in a 5. The first one is the physiological. Now the physiological needs is all about that human basic needs. So what are those basic needs? It's a basic needs are, that is the food, shelter, and the clothes. So he has said, this Abraham Maslow has said that every human being, or when it comes to the needs, the first one that they want from their life, that they want a food, they want a shelter, they want a air, they want a clothes. And once this needs fulfill, the second needs, it comes to anyone's life, that is a safety needs. So when it comes to the safety needs, it's all about getting a job. means a financial stability. So once a person get this food, shelter, and clothes, air, then the person is obviously the second requirement. It's all about the financial stability. So everyone wants a somewhere financial stability. So and every human being wants to experience of barrier as well as a hardiness, personal barrier, financial barrier, favorable health, as well as countermeasure from accidents, harm, along with the distress influences, are all enveloped in safety expectations. Now now the social expectations. When it comes to the social expectations, it's all about once a person got this if the basic needs, after that even the person already getting the job also, or the person already got the job, then the one thing is required, that is the belongingness, means the socialism, means a person now wants a life partner to enjoy all the physiological needs and the safety needs. So here in the social need, everyone wants a friends group where a person can spend their leisure time, or life partner, or the belongings, additionally called love as well as belongings, acknowledge to the expectations to experience a feel of belonging as well as feel of acquaintances. So this is are the social needs. Okay, so once these physiological needs fulfill, the safety needs fulfill, and the social needs fulfill, the another need that everyone wants, that is esteem need means where a person person wants to get something more self-respected, something more, it's along with the regard. Like say for example, when a person got a job, right, that was a social need, that was a safety needs for a person. So once the safety need got fulfilled, now that person wants a social need. It means that person got married. Now that person wants means where he is working, where she is working, now the person wants a more the designation change, means the more when it comes to not only the monetary matter, to get a more monetary matter, it's all about the self respect as well. Means if a person is working as a sales executive, that person wants to be a manager, because that would be the esteem need, and this esteem need comes at the age of 35 to 45. Now this self actualization need. Now what is self actualization? Actually, self actualization means when when every needs got fulfilled, and there is something, there's something inside there's something wishes, hidden desires, all this comes under self actualization. Say for example, a person, he wants to be a dancer, she wants to be a dancer, but somehow somewhere that person couldn't able to pursue the dance. So what that person has done, he or she has worked whole life to to get all the security, to get all the esteem needs, and once this esteem needs got fulfilled, now that person is thinking that somewhere is lack. What is that lack? Somewhere he is happy with everything, all the financial stability, all the prosperous life, he's happy with that prosperous life, or she is happy with the prosperous life, but something is missing. This something is missing. Is the stage of self actualization. Self actualization means when a person talks to own self only, means there is something hidden desires, there are some things, dreams that was not achieved, that was not fulfilled. Now in this stage, that person wants to fulfill that. Again we can give example like a PhD, right? If a person wants to get a doctorate degree, but somehow that person has possesses all the needs and fulfill all the needs, but that degree was lack, right? So in that self actualization need, it's all about to fulfill that need, which was the inner one, inner need, which was never described with anyone, which is and which is lies from from childhood, or which is lies from the from he or she was young. So this self actualization needs is explain a person's wish to measure his or her full amplitude. The hunger to become what one is, clever is something that is highly personal. So, we come to know that the motivation, how you can motivate your employees. So through this, once you come to know how to motivate your employees, it's very easy to give a satisfaction to your internal customer, that is employees. Now the need for qualified employees, why it's required, why it's required qualified employees. The first thing is obviously, if the organization are running for profit maximization, so when it comes to profit maximization or a wealth maximization, that one thing is required, that is qualified employees. If your employees are qualified, it's very easy for you to achieve organization goals, right? Because organization goals are the common goals, and that could be achieved through your employees. And if your employees is qualified, it will be very easy, it will be very efficient, and it will be very effortless to achieve your organization goals through your employees. So management, it's all about getting things done through others. So if your employees are not qualified, are not skilled, if your employees are not trained, then how you can achieve your organization goals. So the first thing why it is required, the first thing that we have cited, that is enhanced confidence. It's easier to put your faith in someone who already has the skills and experience needed for the job than it is in someone who is still working on getting those skills and experience. You will feel more comfortable hiring them if they can show you that they have the necessary degrees, right? The next one, that is improved ability to manage one's time. Actually, improved ability to manage one's time in a simplistic sentence, that is a time management. If your employee knows how to how to deal with this this time barrier, because there are lots of time when you need to finish your work within a prescribed time. So the time management in an organization is a very important factor. So no matter what position you hold, being able to effectively manage your time is a critical. A more experienced worker, on the other hand, will know which tasks and projects require the most focus, allowing them to set priorities accordingly. Now, the next one, that is enhanced expertise. You can rest assured that your chosen candidate will be well prepared for their new position once they have completed their training. Once they have completed their training, it will be easy for them to know what is organization's objectives. It will be very easy for them what is organization's mission, what is organization vision. So accordingly, they can act, they can perform, and in that way they can also get they will be also groomed. So enhanced expertise is one of the need for qualified employees. Now the next one, that is high energy. High energy means if your employee will be will be qualified, so the person will be always when it comes to energy, the person will have a high energy, right? So more than you might expect, the energy of the office or work site is boosted by the addition of new and highly qualified employees. There is also the benefit of bringing in fresh faces, and depending on the position, they may also bring new ideas, right? When you are recruiting a knowledgeable employee or a skilled employee, it will be very easy that they will come up with new ideas, creative ideas, which will help, which will boost the organization profit, right? Now, the finest in the business. So in order to hire the best and brightest, you will need to interview a number of people before you settle on the ideal candidate. To maintain your success, it is critical that you do not hire anyone just because you have a vacancy to fill. This is also important factor why it's required a qualified employees. If you have a vacancy, what you will do in any organization, if they have a vacancy, if they will if they will recruit not a qualified employees, then getting things done, it will be a difficult one. So the finest in the business, if you want to be finest in your business, then it's required a qualified employees. Now the next, actually this is like a barrier only, this is silo mentality. Silo mentality, actually silo mentality refers a person who is who is not that much social. The person is a social, the person is social for only to their to his or her personal life, but that person is not at all social when it comes to this organizational, in the organization. So actually silo mentality is all about a person who who thinks that if I do my work, I will focus on my work. It doesn't matter that what who is asking my work, or whom I need to whom I need to train, or I can I can share my expertise to someone. This silo mentality person never share their work, or they will not like to share their work, or they will not like to share their expertise. They don't like to bringing new ideas or a creative creative ideas for their organization. What they do, they always they always confined with me, I and myself. And when it comes to silo mentality, it's very difficult for a management perspective to get things done from them, because they are having their own world and they are living their own world. They always believe that what they are working, what they are doing, they are best in that, and they don't want any involvement from others, from any other group, or they will not involve to others group as well. But some even there are disadvantages that obviously we are citing, but there are few things that is also a positive one. When it comes to the silo mentality person, what they think, like say for example, if they are working for 10 years for sales sales department, once they will get production, once they will transfer to production department, what they will do, they will never share the information of sales department to that production department. This is the one positive things about silo mentality. Okay, so silo mentality actually is a frame of mind which appears in an organization that could be inward looking, that will not accept sharing of information and resources with other people or departments inside an organization. Silo mentality in business is very famous and common, which is a fundamental problem of human nature and seen as drawback for concerns. Yes, there are few, they're having actually the human nature we cannot change that. It says when it comes to the human resource management, they says that human nature can't be changed. So in silo mentality, what they do actually is their inherent quality or inherent attributes or the characteristics that they are having, that they always be in be in their aura. They don't want to they don't want to accept the sharing of information or resources, and they don't like to in fact they don't like to share the departmental problems with others. They what they will do, if they will have a problem, they will keep it on themselves only, and they will try to fix it by themselves only. So, and this is a drawbacks for any organizations. And this silo mentality has to be decreases. Otherwise, what will happen? Because management is all about getting things done by others, and that others will not work in, and that others will not share the information. So companies, the organization and common goal will not be achieved, right? So silo mentality in organization encourages localized and disconnect decision making. In today's culture, everyone is making decisions based on their own local situation and personal needs. So employees cease to no motivation to make their own changes so as to solve somebody's problem. In silo culture, managers often fight back to fit people into place in working together. to put into practice fundamental changes. It is not extraordinary for managers to criticize that it can be like a pulling teeth which encourages possessions of communal objectives. It is sometimes noted that people are quite prepared to repeatedly be present at meetings to have their upper hand and make the suitable remarks. However, once the meeting is over, they are concurring with lack of concern and do little in anticipation to attend the next meeting. So the important factor that we need to know that how you can destroy this silos. Okay, silos means who are having this silo mentality. So who are having this silo mentality, it calls the silos, right? So it is predicted that people who spend more time in single department or a division will often create faithfulness to their immediate group and have doubts about motives of others, even if they are in same establishment. It is also found that product development sells with thought which global subsidiary looks at parent with great contempt and so on. It is also noticed that without trust, teamwork cannot be created across an organization, and without this, such moves quickly as organizations fall behind such competitors. It's obviously if the organization will not come to know that what is the problem is going on to the internal customers, if your internal customers will be not satisfied, then how this employees will work for you, right? So this is very important to know, and this is very important to destroying the silos. It is considered that silos cut off will clear communication among different business units or at managerial levels. People can fall effortlessly into only communicating with those directly around them or those who are at the same level in the organization. Okay, so now the next thing that we need to know, in this customer service management, that customer loyalty ladder. So this customer loyalty ladder, it's a very important, when it comes to giving our customer service. In every organization, means who are dealing with customer service, they should know the customer loyalty ladder. So what is customer loyalty ladder? Actually, customer loyalty ladder is all about from suspect to partner, how these customers or the clients or the consumers, whatever you will say, so how they are, comes from suspect to a partner. So in this customer loyalty ladder, we will come to know all the stages. So the first stage, that is suspect. Okay, suspect, say for examples, when a person is calling, say for example this cold call. Okay, so cold call, the person has got, means the executive has got this 1000 data or means this executive has got the 1000 names, and in front of the 1000 names are 1000 phone numbers, right? And that executive has to call that all the customers or the suspects to purchase his and her product, okay, to purchase organization's product. So what this executive will do, executive will call one by one all the one by one all the customers data. So that is not actually customers data, that is a cold call data. Okay, and that could be happen that this executive will get this data from their management. Okay, the executives or this executives will get this data from the management, and this and when they get this 1000 customers data, what this executive will do, executive will call one by one. So this one by one calling this 1000 this 1000 data or the 1000 customers. Okay, in a simplistic note, this calling the 1000 customers one by one. Okay, and after getting this data of 1000 1000 suspect, so calling one by one suspect, this 1000 person is called suspect. Okay, because now they are suspect. Okay, you have got this 1000 data, and in that 1000 data you got the name, you got the phone number, and you are calling one by one. So all of them are suspect for you or for the organization. Now in this 1000 data, there are 500, 500 individuals, they have said ki they will like to take your services, or they will like to take your goods, or they will like to they will like to purchase your goods. So from this 1000 data, and from this 1000 data to 500, 500 people who have said ki they will like to take your services, so this are comes under prospect. Okay, now from this 500, whom you have called, whom you have called, or maybe they come to your place, directly, and they come to know that there is a product, and you have shown your product to the 1000 customers, right? So, or the 1000 suspect. So this 1000 this 1000 peoples are the suspect, and this 500 who have said, okay, we would like to take your services, we would like to take your goods, they are the prospect. Now this 500 individuals, or the 500 and this 500 prospect, now there from that 500 group, 250, only 250 people have turned around, or they have turned and finally they have purchased your product, or they have taken your services. So this 250 are your customers from that 1000 data. Okay, so this 250 are your customers. Now this 250 who are repeatedly taking your services, or this 250 who are repeatedly buying your product, right? So this, from this 250, maybe 100 they are buying your product repeatedly, right? So they are your client. And after this client, this 100 clients, now you have got this 100 client. So after 100 client, there are few they will take your services, means the other product as well. You are selling a pen, right? You are selling a ball pen. That that 100 out of that 100 customers, maybe that 50 clients, 50 of your clients, they would like to take the others product from you, right? So they are your supporter. And after after this 50 group, there are 25 customers who will say to others, take their product. It's called a word of mouth, that we know. Take their products, they are very good, and they will say the benefits of your product, or they will say the benefits of your services. So they comes under the advocate group. Okay, and this 10 advocate group, there will be a few who will show their trust, who will be loyal to you, so they will comes under partner. Okay, so from suspect to partner means it was 1000, the data was 1000, and the partner, maybe you will have a 2 or 3, or you may have a 1 also. So this is all about the customer loyalty ladder. Now the suspect in customer loyalty ladder, that already we have discussed, or already we have learned, whom we can call prospect. That is when someone pays attention to promotion. And customers, these are people who buy product or services. Now the client, these are customers who buy second time. That could be nature of product, service, or by cross selling. Supporter, I have mentioned. We have already come to know who are the supporter, and advocate also. This is like a unpaid for advertising. Actually, advocate means it's a type of a customer that is unpaid for advertising for products or services of businesses, which proactively works with companies to improve products and services. And partner, these are advocates who involve actively in decisions of company. Now going up the ladder, we will see the customer service policy and the support system. Now this is also important, that is the Kano model. Now Kano model means in customer service management, or to knowing your internal customers, that one more important factor, that is the Kano model, the basic attributes that we need to know. The first one that comes under threshold, performance, and the excitement. Actually this model of customer satisfaction, it's it's categorized in a three basic thing. That is the first one, that is a threshold, second one, that is a performance, and the third one, that is a excitement. So what is actually threshold attributes? Threshold attributes means when it is noted that a competitive product will meet basic attributes, maximizes performance attributes, and includes excitement attributes possibly at cost which market can take care. Okay. So, the basic attribute is also called as threshold attributes, which are expected attributes. Means you know when you are taking that product, you know that in that product what will be, what are the attributes, or here is we are talking about services. So, in that services we will that will be expected that we will get this kind of services 1 to Z. So, these are the threshold attributes. But when it comes to the performance attributes, are those for which generally are better and will improve customer satisfaction of the of the needs of customer, verbalize, most will fall into the category of performance attributes. And these attributes, these attributes will form the weighted needs against product concepts will be evaluated. So, the price for which customers is willing to pay for a product is closely tied to performance attributes. For example, customers would be willing to pay more for a car that provides them with a better fuel economy. So, now the next one, that is delight attributes. So, in that delight attributes, actually it is sometimes called excitement attributes, and not broadly anticipated or assumed by customers, which is not definite expectations. It is also found that a delightful attribute could be color or material or handle, or even something as delicate as texture of grip which can be carried on. Such types of details are not essential, as flashlight is used to lean to light on things. So, here we can see the the basic attributes, the Kano model basic attributes. Okay, so the product function, it comes to the down, and in left it's customer satisfaction, right. So, when it comes to threshold, it's obviously when it comes to customer satisfaction in the threshold phase, because customers already knows about all the attributes, right, and after knowing that attributes, the customer comes to you. So, it is very obvious for the customers, or it is the basic things that customers already have an idea about your product or services. So, this comes under the low threshold, it comes to the low. Now, the performance means it's getting up, okay. It depends on your ability, it depends on your skills, or right. So, if you perform good, customers will be satisfied, right. And when it comes to the excitement, it comes to the higher end, it comes to the higher level. So, when it comes to the excitement, the customer will be more happy, the customers will take your services again and again, and you can retain your customers, and customer will be more satisfied. So, in the excitement stage, it's the customer satisfaction is very high. Okay. So, here is a glossary that you can get from here is a glossary which is the meaning of external customers, like internal customers, then silo mentality and esteem, right. So, that already we have covered. And this is your check your progress. This is a homework or the assignment that you can do at your home. Even the answers are also cited in the below. So, here which we have here we can so in this unit we come to know the silo mentality, how you can break this silo mentality. Even we come to know the Kano model, and how to satisfy your internal customers. Internal customers means your employees, how you can satisfy your employees. Even in this unit, we come to know the motivational, the Abraham Maslow's motivational theory. And so, in the next class, we will come to know, we will learn the more about customer service management process. So, here I am concluding this session. We will meet you soon in the next session. Thank you all.